Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. Earlier today, Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj met China's President Xi Jinping. Yesterday, it was announced that Prime Minister Modi will visit Beijing before the 26th of May. So post the Obama visit, are India's relations with China about to undergo a significant change? And is the fear that the Obama visit and the shared vision statement could disturb ties proving groundless? That's the discussion in part 2. But first, with just 4 full days before voting, the BJP has still not released its vision document. It was expected today, but that did not happen. It's now being speculated it could be released tomorrow, but that's still not officially confirmed. And in fact, party sources say they still have no idea when it will happen. So what does this reveal of the BJP's campaign? And is it a sign of confusion or even nervousness? That's the first focus tonight. And now joining me to talk about the BJP's missing vision document and what that suggests of the BJP campaign are BJP spokesperson GVL Narasimha Rao, the former editor of The Hindu Siddharth Vardarajan, and the political editor of the Hindustan Times, Vinod Sharma. Mr. Narasimha Rao, first we were told that the BJP will not release a manifesto but a vision document. Then there were expectations that this vision document would be released today. That didn't happen. Now there's speculation it could happen tomorrow, but that's not confirmed. And when we ring up, in fact, your official party sources and ask, we're told no date as yet is officially confirmed or known. But there are only 4 days left for the voting. So do you have a problem?
No, but we had stated a few days ago that we are releasing a vision document. It was actually to happen today, but due to a series of developments, I think it has not happened today. I think in all certainty, it's like it'll happen tomorrow. And in the meanwhile, our chief ministerial candidate, she has also been articulating her own blueprint for the people of Delhi. And the vision document of the party is likely to be on the lines, is likely to be converging with what Kiran Bedi has been talking about as her blueprint for Delhi.
All right, let me pick up Siddharth Vardarajan on what you just heard from Mr. Narasimha Rao. He says it's likely to be tomorrow, but Praveen Shankar Kapoor, the official Delhi media in charge of the BJP, has actually told us this evening, just around 5:15, that there's no firm confirmation whatsoever. Now, what do you make of this uncertainty? What do you make of this delay? Is it understandable, or do you think it suggests there is a problem?
Well, it's tempting to conclude that there is a problem in the Delhi BJP's entire campaign and that the inability to release a vision document or a manifesto well in advance of the elections is a sign of that underlying crisis. But I think it is also somewhere down the line a reflection of the declining importance of manifestos in elections itself, right? I mean, cast your mind back to the 2014 election. The BJP's manifesto was released, I believe, a day after the first round of voting had happened.
Absolutely.
And nevertheless, Modi went on to win that election spectacularly. So I think, somewhere down the line, just as the electorate has tended to discount the importance of manifestos and all kinds of other, grand promises contained in these documents, I think parties too have begun to treat them as something less important, perhaps an adjunct to, street level campaigning or the kind of advertising that we've seen on the radio and television, and the BJP has really gone wall to wall on that.
In fact, it's interesting, Mr. Narasimha Rao, that Siddharth Vardarajan should have drawn our attention to your manifesto in May 2014, because not only was that released after the voting began, but it's well known that it was delayed because of problems between Murli Manohar Joshi, who was head of the drafting committee, and the views of Mr. Modi, who in many issues and in many essential respects differed with what Mr. Joshi wanted to do. Now, in the case of this vision document, a moment ago you said it will reflect closely what already Kiran Bedi has been tweeting and putting out as her vision. But the interesting thing is, when it comes to the vision for the future of Delhi in terms of statehood, that is a party position of the BJP's. You've been demanding it for 20 years. But when Kiran Bedi was asked by the Economic Times in an interview whether she wanted statehood for Delhi, her answer was, we don't need it. So I've come back. Is your vision document in a state of uncertainty and delay because you're not sure of your vision? That vision itself is changing between what Kiran Bedi says and what you used to say.
No, I think I would rather second what Siddharth said a little while ago. I think increasingly, I think manifestos are certainly important, and we should really we should have them, or vision documents, we should have them in time. But increasingly, people make their choices based on credibility of the parties and leaders, and not based on what is promises. I think what you are seeing as manifestos, I think they can easily be called conifestos. I think there is an attempt to offer everything under the sun, and the numbers, the budget would not be sufficient even to fulfill one promise of Aam Aadmi Party to give 15 lakh cameras or 15 lakh
well,
CCTV
let's not go
cameras.
to the Aam Aadmi Party, stick to yours. Stick to yours. Let's not go to the Aam Aadmi Party. It's very interesting, Vinod Sharma, that Mr. Narasimha Rao began his answer by saying, I will second what Siddharth Varadarajan has said, because Siddharth was actually saying parties don't take vision documents or manifestos seriously. They don't really bother about either their content or about the impact they have. Now that leads me to the question, how credible is a vision document, given that the BJP's national vision document of 2004 was forgotten by 2009 and actually contradicted in 2014, what credibility does this Delhi vision document have whenever it's released?
No, Karan, first of all, may I tell you that the real problem is on the statehood question. That I'm told that the Kiran Bedi said it should be mentioned, but with a degree of dilution there, and to which others were not in agreement. So that is one major stumbling block. Of course, you know, political parties make promises, they put them in writing. Most of these promises are not kept, and these documents are of great value to people like you and me to question them on the performance and on the fulfillment of their promises. But may I say that the statehood question is very complex, and that's where the problem is, because statehood for Delhi is exactly the reverse of scrapping 317 Kashmir. You see, in Delhi you have to give more powers to the state government, and in Kashmir you have to take away powers for the central government. So it's a difficult question, and having spent time in power in Delhi, I think Mr. Narendra Modi has realized that this is something which can't be sort of really fulfilled or executed on the ground.
In fact, the irony, Vinod, is that Mr. Modi is now adopting a position on the issue of statehood for Delhi that is very close to the Congress one, which is to say it's not necessary. And that, oddly enough, is a position Kiran Bedi is taking. And both of them are differing with the traditional position of the BJP for the last 20 years, which is to demand statehood for Delhi. Clearly, therefore, either you can be polite and say their vision is changing, and it's changing 180 degrees, or their vision is becoming a little myopic.
It is. And may I tell you one thing, that not just this issue, on many other issues, the position taken by the current government is quite similar to that of the Congress government. No, they were in the opposition mode at that time. They are in the ruling party mode now. So we should be able to, it's good to point out the contradiction. But the fact remains that even on the China question, I know you mentioned about China in your opening statement, you know, I mean, they Prime Minister now decided to go to China.
Let's not go to China, it's got nothing to do with Delhi. Vinod, let's not go to China, it's got nothing to do with the Delhi elections. Let's stick to the Delhi elections.
What I'm saying is that I'm only pointing out the similarity in positions.
Absolutely, but let's not widen our discussion to that point. Let's take it stage by stage. Siddharth Varadarajan, let's come back to how credible a document is a vision statement. It's clearly not a manifesto. Therefore, it's clearly not a commitment to do what it talks about. It's simply a list of preferences that you believe would be nice to have. And if the vision document of 2004 can be forgotten by 2009 and contradicted in 2014, then this Delhi vision document, beyond being a list of preferences, is a pretty meaningless document, isn't it?
Oh, I agree with you. I think a vision document, I mean, if a party cannot be held down to promises contained in a manifesto, it is even less accountable for anything that is said in the, that's stated in the vision document. So there you go. You know, and I think that the BJP's inability to come up with a credible, timely vision for Delhi, and to its unwillingness to be held accountable to that, really, you know, is partly explains why it's having such a tough time campaigning in this election. I think the people of Delhi which, this is a city that, is conservative politically and has always had a large space for the BJP, but the BJP is struggling despite, a fantastic national performance. So I think that somewhere down the line, this vision thing has been overtaken by what AAP is presenting, and the BJP finds itself with its back against the wall. But that, to my mind, would have been all the more reason why the brains trust of the BJP should have come out early in the day with something that would be credible and something that would be attractive for people of Delhi, something it's failed to do. And I think the reason for that is something that you hinted at the beginning, which is deep divisions within the BJP. The fact of the matter is that they've changed strategies 3 times since this election was called, and there's no agreement among the city leadership about the candidature of Kiran Bedi. So it's not surprising that this campaign is being pulled in different directions.
Mr. Narasimha Rao, you were very open, frank and honest, perhaps even indiscreet, when you said at the very beginning you second what Siddharth Varadarajan says, and that vision documents and manifestos don't really carry any weight, they're meaningless documents. Is this therefore a sign that
No, that's not what I said. I said they are...
You said you seconded Siddharth Varadarajan, and that's what Siddharth Varadarajan said. So if you second him, that means you agree with him. But surely you do, otherwise you don't second a person.
What I said was that increasingly people do not, I'm talking about the voters. People go by a promise of leadership and a party, and not by not
all right,
what is
I'll allow
stated
you
in
that
published
correction.
documents.
I'll permit you that correction in your
and
view,
also,
although you did begin by saying I second what Siddharth is saying, and Siddharth was not talking about voters, he was talking about parties not taking vision documents and manifestos seriously. But leave that aside. The point I want to put to you is this. Is your vision documents delay and uncertainty a reflection that you have multiple competing visions, you don't have a central core vision on which everyone has agreed, and as a result of which, you either don't know what to include in this document, or you can't get people to agree on the priorities in which things should be mentioned and the manner in which they should be mentioned, as a result of which you don't have a clear vision?
I think, let me be brutally frank. I think the BJP has a very clear vision, and in BJP, I think what is decided at collectively at the top goes without being contested. I think let Siddharth not entertain any doubts about having different leaders having contradicting views and therefore not being able to resolve differences. I think it's just a figment of imagination. But the reality, I'll be brutally frank, is parties which do not hope to come to power and are making promises which are completely not credible. And BJP as a party which is ruling at the
Why
center,
worry about
and a
the
party
lack
that
of
expects to come
credibility
to
of
power,
other people's promises? You should be concentrating on getting your promises across. At the moment, your promises are missing.
No, Karan, we want to make only credible promises.
And you can't decide what they are. That's the problem. Because on statehood for Delhi, your credibility is in question. After 20 years of wanting it, you suddenly decided, as Kiran Bedi has made clear, you don't need it. That's the level of credibility question marks that hang in the air over you.
I think, unfortunately, the media takes manifestos at the face value. Because on a different program that you were actually comparing, I heard you question Aam Aadmi Party is offering 8 lakh jobs. If you are offering 5 lakh jobs, I think that's not enough. AAP is offering something more.
Wonderful.
I think this has really come down to this level of debate.
I love that sentence, and I'm going to put it to Vinod Sharma. He says, unfortunately, the media takes manifestos at face value. In other words, what he's saying is, you don't have to necessarily believe and accept what we say. Please don't trust us, even if we make a commitment.
I'm referring to the Aam Aadmi Party manifesto.
I think he's a wonderfully honest politician. Tell me, is that finally giving the game away, Vinod Sharma, that these documents that you and I take so seriously and believe are sacrosanct commitments that we can hold parties up to, actually are things they don't intend and mean at all, which is why they're astonished when we take them at face value?
No, may I tell you, Karan, you see what's happening is BJP has always tended to come out with its manifestos and its vision documents after the rivals have come out. And they're actually in competition, and they would study that document and formulate their policies in keeping with the public mood. This happened in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, if you remember, and that's why their manifesto and their vision document was delayed. And the same thing is happening here. This is point number one. Point number two is that Arvind Kejriwal is actually setting the agenda for the electoral discourse in Delhi. And the BJP cannot really go to the extent that he is going, the issues that he is raising, the BJP does not have answers to those issues. For instance, he attributes the high electricity tariff to the BJP's proximity to big business houses. Now, the BJP has no answer to that, and he has managed to, in the process, show himself as a party of the poor and the dispossessed, and the BJP in the process has gotten painted as the party of the rich. And, and that is where the whole contradiction lies. They must be working overtime to come up with a vision document. And you see, earlier they had promised manifestos. Remember, constituency-wise manifestos. This BJP had promised constituency-wise manifestos. I would like to ask Mr. Rao whether these manifestos are there or not, or whether they have been also abandoned.
All right. Mr. Rao's fingers gone up. I can see he's eager to answer you. Go ahead, Mr. Rao, but remember, you're answering Vinod Sharma's specific question. What's happened to your manifestos? You were meant to have constituency-wise ones. Where are they?
No, I'm rather coming on the other point that he mentioned.
No, don't come on another point. Come on this point. This is the point I want you to answer.
I think he attributed the business houses. I think this is a bizarre statement.
No, just a moment.
I don't expect this coming from
Don't circumvent an embarrassing question by trying to answer an irrelevant one. Don't circumvent an embarrassing question by trying to answer an irrelevant one. That was a polemical, rhetorical point that Vinod made. Leave it aside.
I'm objecting to the
point he made is that he pointed out that the manifestos you promised haven't happened. Where are they? Where are they?
No, obviously they will flow from a vision document. There is, let me be frank, there may not be any further documents in this election. What the BJP wants to promise is going to be a part of vision document, and we want to contest elections on the basis of our credibility and our performance in the past, not conning the people of Delhi, which is what we think other parties have done.
Well,
we don't want to join this con game.
Well, conning the people of Delhi may well be what you end up doing yourself when you back away from a 20-year promise demanding statehood and suddenly say you don't need it. That is a big con on the people of Delhi if you don't explain why you've changed your position, leave aside even admit that you've changed your position. Siddharth Varadarajan, to what extent does this whole confusion over manifestos versus manifestos, vision documents versus manifestos, vision documents not happening, suggest that actually there is not just nervousness in the BJP's ranks, there's not just confusion, there's perhaps panic.
Oh, that's very clear. I mean, the panic is writ large over, if you take a look at the last 2 weeks. I mean, first the party decided to campaign purely on the basis of Modi's face, and they didn't worry about the fact that they didn't have a chief ministerial candidate. Then when they realized that Mr. Modi wasn't drawing the kind of crowds they hoped he would draw, they imported Kiran Bedi and declared her as initially the first day they didn't say she was going to be CM, next day they said she would be. And now once again they've reverted to Modi as the face. So I think the fact is that the BJP is trying different options and they're not generating the kind of public response. And more importantly, something that Vinod said, that the Aam Aadmi Party, despite being smaller and in a way the underdog, is able to set the terms of the discussion in Delhi today. They're even able to set the terms on which campaigns are being fought. If you look at the style and tactics of Aam Aadmi Party volunteers, it's something that the BJP is scrambling to try and copy. So I think every which way you look at it, the BJP is on the back foot. Even if they win, the fact that they've had to struggle so much to generate a victory tells us something about how the attractiveness of the Modi platform may be beginning to wane. If it doesn't work so well in a city like Delhi, I think the BJP would have to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out how it's going to keep its public appeal intact at the national level.
Let's not jump ahead of ourselves. We'd only know the answer to that particular point when the results come out on the 10th. But very quickly, Vinod Sharma, on this vision document, do you believe it will actually happen tomorrow? Because when you ring the BJP for a firm answer, they do not give you one. They say perhaps, probably, not for sure, not confirmed, leaving quite open the possibility that tomorrow could become day after and maybe even the day after that. So what's your hunch? When will this vision document see the light of day?
No, I think it will come out tomorrow because there is a rally the Prime Minister is addressing tomorrow, and maybe that you know, some parts of the vision document constitute parts of his speech, and it may be released in the evening or before his speech, most likely after he's spoken. They will have to come out with some document. You see, election time is where the voter seeks commitment from political parties.
Okay.
Commitment on key issues. I have refused to believe that manifestos or vision documents have lost value. They may have lost value, but they have great value for us and other people who don't even need MLAs or MPs to get their jobs done. But people who need MLAs and MPs and corporators to get their jobs done, or at least have their grievances heard, need commitments. And the people who actually are today rallying around Kejriwal are especially the persons who need commitments.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is generally perceived that the poor people are with him.
Absolutely.
And if the BJP is quiet, it is going to virtually offer the entire constituency of those dispossessed and poor on a platter to Kejriwal.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. A manifesto, or even if it's something called a vision document, is a contract between a party and the people from whom it's seeking votes, and a commitment to do certain things, the basis on which you are seeking those votes. Very quickly, Mr. Narasimha Rao, how sure are you it will happen tomorrow?
No, I'm quite sure. And
what does
also,
quite sure
I think
mean?
it's a. I think
what does quite sure mean? Does it mean definitely or not?
Very sure.
Very
I don't
sure.
know how you would want to interpret this.
So
Very
tomorrow
sure.
is a
Okay, now
certainty.
coming back to,
Tomorrow
we
is
have
a
already
certainty. I'm
delivered.
running out of time. I want a bit of clarity. Are you
Yeah.
saying to me the vision document will be out tomorrow, full stop?
Yes, when I say very sure, that's what it means.
All right. If that's what it means, that's the positive note on
let
which
me
we'll
add
end the
just
show.
10 seconds. Just one line, Karan, can I add just a couple of lines?
Go ahead.
Okay, one, I think it's important for us to give some legal sanctity to the manifestos like it is in the United Kingdom. Any party that comes to power is actually is legally bound to implement a manifesto.
And number two,
because such restrictions, such legal sanctity is not there.
Number two, I'm running out of time. Number two. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, we have already started delivering for the people of Delhi. All the unauthorized
now you're becoming polemical, rhetorical and political. I'm not going to let you continue. I'm stopping. I'm going to remind the audience that you've given me an assurance. You use the words very sure. The vision document will be made public tomorrow. We've got 24 hours in which to see whether you're right or whether you are pulling the wool over our eyes. My thanks to all three of my guests for joining me. Time for a break.